G'day, welcome to another episode of Country Life on the Coast. My name is Sean. Today's episode we are going to do a comparison between the Ryobi and the Hafco thicknesser. So this is Ryobi's 1500 watt 330 millimeter wide thicknesser, and this is Hafco's, it's an older model, but it's their T13-A. If you wanted to go and buy something similar to this, their latest model I looked up is a T13-B. This one was actually manufactured in 2017. I'm not exactly sure what differences there are between the T13-A and T13-B, but this will give a good comparison between a Hafco thicknesser and a Ryobi one. So the Ryobi one is a 1500 watt, the Hafco one is 1800 watts. And price-wise, they're both about the same, that $540, $550 mark. So it's a good comparison just to see what you get for your money. So both of these use two high-speed steel blades. They're replaceable. They're actually a blade on either side, so you can flip them over, get twice the amount of use out of them. The Hafco comes with some tools with onboard storage as well. The Ryobi one has a compartment up the top here, where the tools are stored as well. I've got the instructions of both of them. The Ryobi one, fairly simple in it really, enough to get you going and to be able to use it. A lot of safety instructions. The Hafco one, same sort of thing, but a lot better instructions that I found. There's also good maintenance instructions in here as well as all the general safety requirements that you should follow when using one of these. If you're getting into using one of these and you've never used one before, the Hafco instructions just make it a lot easier, explain things a lot more. Found them very informative going through that. So just on the front of them, so the Ryobi has the big safety stop. I'm pretty certain the new Hafco ones would have that as well, but this model just has an on-off switch up the top here. To turn this on, you need to open this up and switch it on the Ryobi. Both nice, good in-feed tables on them. Certainly it does what it needs to do. The Hafco one has a lot better gauge at the front here. So on the Hafco one, it has this gauge that will show how much material will be taken off each time. So as timber is passed through here, it will show you 1, 2, 3 millimeters at a time. The Ryobi one, it doesn't have that feature on it. The Ryobi one has this quite nice large gauge, so you can read what depth or what thickness your material will be. So that's very handy. The Hafco one has the same sort of gauge that you can easily see. So they both have this red line that as you look through, it just helps show where it's at. Both very similar in that situation. So we've swung them around, and just something else I wanted to note is the dust ports on these. So as this takes material off, the Hafco one shoots it out this dust port. It's nice and large. There's no material that gets stuck in there, even if you don't have it connected to a shop vac of some description. On the Ryobi one, it's a lot smaller, and I've found that I have had stuff get clogged in here unless I'm running a shop vac. So when I have my shop vac connected, that's fine. It helps suck it, draw it away, and nothing gets clogged up in there. But if I don't have that, then yes, they can get clogged up. So that's the main comparisons on the outside of them. What we might do now is I'll take the side covers off the Hafco one, and the Ryobi one, the whole sides and top all come off as one unit. So I'll just quickly remove those, and then we'll have a look a bit more inside them. So we have all the covers off. The Ryobi one, I take the top off and then the sides just slide up. And the Hafco, we just took each side off. The main drive is just a belt drive on both. Both of them are a ribbed one. This clearly shows too, it's a good way of seeing, they're a 4-post thicknesser. So both very comparable to each other really. So on the other side, you can see there's a set of gears here and these couple of chains. And the Ryobi one there is something under here that I can't actually get access to. So I'm not 100% sure if there's like a gearbox or something similar to the Ryobi one, but overall very similar in all these cases. So what we'll do now is we'll just remove the dust vents on both, and we'll get to where the blades are. So we've pulled the Hafco one apart. So there's a cover over the top that slides in here, and there's just 2 screws that hold it on. The dust cover vent, it just has 4 screws that you unscrew. The good thing with the Hafco is so far everything that I've undone, the tools that came with it, has been all that I've needed. Now this is the blade for the Hafco. So it's sharp on both sides, so when you put it in you can actually rotate it, give you a bit more life and use out of it, and it's fairly simple to replace. So there's these 8 screws that we undo, and you can just see there's 2 of these locating pins. So we just slide the blade in. The only other tool that I have used is a magnet. It just makes it a little bit easier sometimes. And that sits down on those pins, and then we just screw these down. So I'll do that up nice and tight off camera, but so that's how the Hafco blade system works. Quite easy to get to, quite simple to change. Now the Ryobi one, similar sort of thing. So this cover sat down over here. There's 4 screws that hold it in place, and then this is where the blade sits. So the blade goes down in here like this. So the blade on the Ryobi is a lot thicker, a lot heavier duty, but it's only single-sided. It has 2 holes for the locating pins. So this sits in here like this, and there's a couple of pins on here that the blade lines up on. One other thing to note is down in the bottom here, there's a couple of springs that push against the blades, which, to be honest, I'm not exactly sure whether that's keeping the blades up fully as we're putting it back together or what, because there is a bit of movement available on that. But same principle, there's 8 bolts holding it in there. This one reminds me very similar of replacing blades on a normal like hand electric planer. And then that just slides in here. And again, tools are provided. The only thing that I haven't had a tool for that didn't seem to come with it, there's 4 bolts on the top here that took that top cover off right at the start. I had to have an Allen key, a separate one for that. So just as we put those blades fully back together, there is this part that came with the tools in the toolkit, and what we do is we sit this over here. To be honest, I'd actually forgotten about it without cutting ourselves or anything. But what this does is help set the depth of the blade. So we need to sit that on there and then be able to do these up, and that will set the blade, yeah, as I said, it will set the blade at the correct depth to where it needs to be. But at least that's what I can gather from the... So in the Ryobi manual, it sort of shows this, but the manuals of Ryobi tools are not always the best, I'm afraid. Don't get me wrong, I like the Ryobi tools, but their manuals are a bit to be desired. So anyway, I'll keep working on this. You don't need to watch me just do up bolts. So there we have it. We've got them both back together now, and that's really all I wanted to talk about. So in my view, well, I've had this Ryobi one now for 2 or 3 years. It's not something I use all the time, but it has done a lot of work, and well, everything it's done, it's been old hardwood timber. So I've worked it pretty hard, I think, and it's still going strong. The Hafco one, I haven't had that long, and I've only used it a bit, but it certainly seems up to the job. Certainly now we've changed or swapped those blades around. If you saw the previous video, we did some maintenance on it. Works really well. I'm extremely happy with it. If you've seen my channel, a lot of the stuff I use is Ryobi, just because of the price of it. For DIY around the house stuff, I don't think you can really go wrong with Ryobi. Well, I certainly haven't had any issues with them. But if you have either one of these, put some comments down below as to how you find them. If you've seen anything that I've done incorrectly with showing this, or you've got other comments, please put them down below. It helps other people as well, just as much as helping me. I read all the comments, so yeah, any sort of good feedback is certainly appreciated, and like I said, it could help other people as well. But that's all we've got for this episode, so thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. That'd be fantastic, and we'll catch you on the next one. God bless.